Hey everybody, it's Jim here. Today we're going to be checking out an affordable guitar from a brand called Fesley. They originally reached out to me asking if I wanted to do a collaboration where I did a review/demonstration of the FST 350M, which we will be unboxing momentarily. And once we came to terms with it, I was totally on board. Basically, all I ever ask for when any company ever approaches me, don't make me read a script and don't lie. They were cool enough to say, yeah, do whatever you want. Have fun with the video. So, big thank you in advance, and obviously, yes, this is technically a sponsored video. I have not opened this yet. We're going to check it out real quick, make sure all the electronics work, then we're going to put it on the bench to take a closer look. One thing I really appreciate is that Fesley include a gig bag. I can think of guitars that cost upward of $2,000 that do not come with any sort of gig bag. And even Fender Japan guitars, and I love Fender Japan guitars, the gig bag on those, not exactly my favorite thing in the whole world. But this, while it might not be a mono gig bag, it's actually pretty decent. I would say above what you get out of Fender Japan. So, as for the guitar itself, alright, the neck actually feels pretty good on it. Nice. Let's just make sure that the electronics all work, and then we'll take a close look. And another thing I really like here, they included this on the tip so that it wouldn't break off. Again, not always the case, but this is already a really good start because it's little things that add up with the user experience. And especially when you're talking about guitars that are under $200, these things make a difference for sure. Alright, cool. Let's take it on the bench. Check it out. I'm going to be judging this as a beginner/intermediate instrument, given the price tag of under $200 out the door and the fact that Fesley themselves market it towards beginners or intermediate players. To begin with, we have single humbucker pickup configuration here, a 6-point tremolo system, 1 volume, 2 tones, and a 5-way selector switch. There is no push-pull for the humbucker to split it on any of these controls, so it is just straight up. You have this Mirandy pink, which is really similar to a shell pink color, and it's a satin finish when it comes to that. There's not a whole lot to see on the back of the guitar, but there is one thing that I wanted to give them props for, because I've had $2,000 and up American guitars that do not get this right, and they did. You do have a rear control plate here because you don't have a pickguard on the front of the instrument. The plate is recessed into the body. They made it work on a $200 guitar. Why these American brands can't do it on a $2,000 guitar, totally different discussion, but I noticed that straight away and I appreciate that. This cover, however, is not recessed, but that is standard for all Stratocaster and Stratocaster guitars from Fender that I've dealt with at least. And most of us, we remove it and it kind of gets lost in our parts bin anyways. Let's take a look at some of these electronics. There's no two ways around this. This is a pretty sloppy job as far as the organization of the wires. Is that a big deal? I mean, if you were a new player and you had problems and you were bold enough to want to work on this, I could see you opening this up and saying, nope, not going to do it, and taking it into a technician to have them deal with it, because there's just a lot going on. But outside of that, as far as the actual quality of the connections, we can see here, that's really clean there on the tone. Same thing with that tone. And on the volume, we're going to have multiple grounds. Yeah, we're good. So the actual soldering work looks decent enough. However, I would just recommend, if people from Fesley are watching this, which I assume you will be, just cleaning it up a little bit and doing a little bit better of a job organizing it. But outside of that, functionality, we didn't have any problems. I tested this before I even put this on the bench. The first thing we're going to check at the neck is the fret edges and how smooth they are. Really smooth. Up until about the 22nd, 23rd fret here. The rest of them, actually surprisingly smooth. And I'm noticing something though. It looks like the frets, like right there and right there, they're recessed just ever so slightly inwards towards the neck, and that might be part of the reason why I don't feel as much sharpness at all there. But even on the ones that are extended all the way out, Really well done, so a comfortable playing experience on that. Now I'm going to be measuring the thickness of the nut itself. 42 millimeters, so 1.65 inches. Now we'll take the strings off and we'll measure the thickness of the neck at the 1st and the 12th fret. So 1 sec. 0.86 at the 1st fret, 0.93 at the 12th fret. Now let's check how level the frets are using our fret guru. Passes with flying colors, and yeah, not much more to be said about that. Really good job, guys. The neck has a smooth satin feel on the back of it, and at the headstock, you do have your deluxe edition stamp and your made in PRC, People's Republic of China. However, I want to talk about the tuners just ever so briefly. These impressed me a lot. These feel really good. They have a great ratio to them, and that's not always the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if these were made by Ping, and Ping is a supplier for many OEM brands, including Fender themselves. The gear we're going to be using for today's demo is the Tone King Gremlin Combo Amplifier, mic'd up by the Shure SM57 microphone. We're going to be using the Brown Amplification Protein for a little bit of drive, and also the Strymon Volante for a little bit of delay and a little bit of reverb. this video, I said I was going to judge this guitar as a beginner slash intermediate level instrument. Fesley themselves advertise it as such. But there are a few things that are of the utmost importance, especially to a first time guitarist. It has to be comfortable, it has to be stable, and it has to be reliable. First things first, the comfort. The action on this is really great. I appreciate the fact that on the hang tags, it showed actual height measurements of the 1st string and the 6th string at the 1st and the 12th fret, and that they were accurate. This guitar also has a lighter gauge of string on it. It plays great. It is not difficult whatsoever to play. On top of that, the fret actually is really smooth up and down the neck. I'm not sure if it's because they seem to be a little bit recessed in towards the center of the neck ever so slightly. I'll show you some close-ups on the camera on that, or just a really solid fretwork, but I can't see that being a problem with sharp fret edges here either. The tuners, this thing stays in tune extremely well, but that's not normally where you're going to have tuning issues from. It would be from here, the nut. The nut is cut great, no problems. This is all really basic stuff, but this is make or break when it comes to an instrument's stability and reliability. As far as the electronics go on this thing, I was pretty impressed with them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that, they would be adequate and pretty decent sounding, and by no means am I saying that these are Fralins or Lawlers or custom buckers or anything like that, but they did a really admirable job. There was one other sound segment that I'm going to show you right now that kind of proves that point. I'm going to play with the bridge pickup, and we're going to manipulate the volume on the guitar itself to see how much high end it retains when we start rolling it off. I realize most beginner guitar players won't appreciate something like that. They're going to have the volume and both the tone knobs maxed out at all times. But for somebody like me, who likes to tinker around and tests things out, I was really surprised at how well this did, especially when we had the Brown amplification protein engaged with that much gain. Rolling off the volume got me a pretty good clean tone that didn't lose all of the high-end frequencies, and that can't be said for every single guitar that I've played on this YouTube channel, so kudos to that. And overall, final thing before I give you my verdict, and obviously you can see here, I'm surprised by this. I think that this is really solid. I did appreciate there was one other thing that this came with. Inside of the gig bag, there is a pamphlet. And inside of the pamphlet, it explained to a new player how to take care of the instrument, how to restring the instrument with a step-by-step, and even a picture to show you how to tie around the actual tuning peg itself. There was also on the second page an anatomy of the guitar explaining what each part was. And I thought that that was really cool. As somebody who likes to know the ins and outs of something, if I have a new hobby, I did see that there was some extra value in that as well. But the most important things, if you're a new player, it plays easy, you're still going to get sore. No guitar is going to be super comfortable the first few weeks or even months, depending on how much you practice, because you're getting used to pushing down on the strings. But smooth fret edges and a reliable instrument that sounds really good, and a great price too at under $200. You can check them out, the link in the description down below, or head on over to their website and have a look at some of their other stuff, because I don't know, now I'm pretty interested in some of the other stuff they have. They even have like electronic drums. But before I get too far off tangent, thank you to Fesley for sending me this instrument. I'm pleasantly surprised by it, seriously. And thank you for watching this video. If you found today's video helpful, useful, entertaining, or informative, please let me know in the comment section down below. Especially if you made it this far, please consider hitting a like and a subscribe button if you do enjoy these sorts of videos. And I will see you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody.